Hello, hope you're doing well, and welcome to my guide for strength and intelligence in Smite 2. As many of you know, MOBAs are notoriously challenging to learn, and Smite 2 is no exception. The highest barrier to entry for newer players is undoubtedly the item system. With Smite 2's release into closed alpha, many changes to items and their stats were introduced, leading to confusion for both new and experienced players alike. One of the biggest changes was the replacement of magical and physical power with strength and intelligence. While this may seem like an insignificant difference, it goes much deeper than a simple name change. In this video, I will teach you everything you need to know about these new stats, including which you should build on different characters in different situations and in different roles. In my next video, I will teach you how to play every role, what characters excel in which roles, and what to build on them. So make sure you subscribe with notifications turned on so you don't miss out on this and future Smite content. Also, if you are new to Smite 2, I would highly recommend watching my complete beginner's guide to Smite 2 link down in the description. With that out of the way, let's kick off this guide. In Smite 2, strength and intelligence are core stats that increase a character's damage through both abilities and auto attacks. Every character can build either intelligence or strength, however, just because you can build both doesn't mean you should. The key to success in Smite 2 is understanding which of these two stats best suits the character you are playing. Building the wrong stat can greatly diminish your effectiveness, while building the correct one will help you dominate your enemy. Most characters in Smite 2 are designed to excel with either strength or intelligence, and not both. With that being said, there are some characters that can make use of both strength and intelligence, known as hybrid characters. These type of characters are less common, so I will cover them later in the video. Note that damage type refers to the type of damage your character deals, whether it's physical damage, indicated by a sword icon next to your character in-game, or magical damage, indicated by a circle. Damage type is consistent and does not change regardless of what you build. This is different and independent from a character's scaling, which, as we mentioned, could either be strength, intelligence, or in some cases both if you're playing one of the few hybrid characters. To make things clear, a character's damage type does not determine which stat they use efficiently. Physical damage dealers could scale off of intelligence or strength, with this also applying to magical characters. So with that being the case, how will you know whether you should build strength or intelligence on your character? The character page will tell you absolutely everything you need to know about any given character, including their passives, damage type, what their abilities do, and most relevant to this video, what their abilities scale with. If you find yourself in a match without access to the character page, simply press K and all the information will be available to you. Additionally, hovering over an ability with your mouse cursor will show you relevant information on specific stats. That's it really. Knowing what stat you should buy on different characters just takes some light reading on your part, but wait, there's more to it. Let's look at an example. By navigating to Kukulkan's character page, we can take a look at her abilities starting with the first one, Zephyr. Kukulkan fires a projectile that explodes on the first enemy hit, dealing magical damage and applying a slow. At level 5, this ability does 285 base damage, with the addition of 80% of her intelligence. For the example's sake, assuming you buy 400 intelligence, you would take 80% of 400, which is 320, and add this to the base damage of 385, increasing this ability's total damage to 605. Notice how strength is not mentioned in the description? Buying strength would not affect the damage of this ability at all. With all of Kukulkan's abilities following this trend of only scaling using intelligence, buying strength on her is completely useless. Now I hope I was able to clear up the confusion between strength and intelligence. Unfortunately, I can't go over all of the characters in just one video, but if that's what you are looking for, I will be posting full in-depth guides for all of the characters in Smite 2. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on future guides and Smite 2 builds. If you don't want to wait for me to release those videos, then feel free to join our Discord community where I or other community members will be happy to help with your builds or any questions you may have. Or if you just need some non-toxic friends to play Smite with, this is the perfect place for you. Remember earlier when I mentioned some characters could make use of both intelligence and strength? Well, it's time to talk about hybrid characters. Hybrid characters in Smite 2 are developed to use both intelligence and strength. Although they have abilities that scale using both strength and intelligence, oftentimes you will want to focus mostly on one over the other in most cases. Let's take a look at Neith, Smite 2's most popular hybrid character. Starting off with her first ability, Spirit Arrow, this projectile scales off of 100% strength and 50% intelligence. Her second and third abilities both scale exclusively using intelligence, and finally Neith's ultimate scales using both 100% of her strength and intelligence. With Neith's first ability being her main source of damage, one would assume that higher strength scaling means you should focus on strength. However, this leads me to the topic of stat availability. In Smite 2, intelligence is available to be purchased in significantly higher quantities when compared to strength. What I mean by this is that any item offering intelligence will offer more intelligence when compared to an item offering strength. This may be a bit confusing, and honestly I suck at explaining it, but let me just show you. Looking at the strength items and comparing them to the intelligence items in terms of the actual value of the stats that they offer, starting with strength, 45 strength, 40, 25, 40, 40, 25, 40, 40, 30, 20. So we can see that on average you're expecting to see about maybe 30 to 40 strength from any given item. Taking a look at intelligence, it's going to be a bit of a different story. 80, 60, 50, 35, 80, 50, 90, 75, 50. So you can see that the average for intelligence items is going to be much higher, by about 20 or more in some cases, at around an average of 60 to 70 intelligence. With this being the case, returning to my Neith's character page, coupled with the fact that her second and third abilities scale exclusively using intelligence, you should heavily focus on building intelligence as opposed to strength on Neith. Do note this applies unless there is a very powerful item offering strength, such as Transcendence, which is a must-have item on Neith. Want to know more about Neith? Later this week, I'm going to be releasing a complete Neith beginner's guide, so stay tuned for that. But there is one more thing we need to discuss when it comes to strength versus intelligence. All auto attacks, regardless of whether a character deals magical or physical damage, will scale off 20% intelligence and 100% strength. With this being the case, when you are going for an auto attack focused build, it will always be more efficient to build strength. For example, Soul is a ranged character dealing magical damage, and her abilities scale entirely using intelligence. However, due to the immense amount of attack speed and bonus auto attack power that her passive grants her, she can be played in the ADC lane extremely effectively. More on which character should be played in which roles in an upcoming video, so stay tuned. And again, since all auto attacks benefit primarily using strength, a character like Soul can benefit by building strength and dominate despite the fact that all of her abilities scale using intelligence. That is, of course, if you want to play her with an auto attack focused style of play. If you prefer to play her as a magical caster dealing heavy damage through abilities, then intelligence is your best bet. As you can see, what you build has general guidelines, but certain edge cases coupled with hybrid scaling and things such as passives can make it a little bit confusing. So I hope I was able to clear things up a little bit. And there you have it, the key factors to consider when choosing between strength and intelligence in Smite 2. I hope this guide cleared up some of the confusion around which stat to build and when. Just remember, read your character's abilities to know which stat they scale off of. Hybrid characters can make use of both stats, but will usually be more effective with one over the other depending on your build and playstyle. Auto attack builds mostly favor strength, even for characters that scale using intelligence, such as Soul. If you found this video helpful, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on future Smite 2 content. I will be posting future Smite 2 character guides soon, so stay tuned for those. If you have any questions or need friendly people to play with, feel free to join my Discord server. And lastly, follow me on Twitch using the link down in the description to join me for live Smite 2 game or to ask any questions directly. With that out of the way, thanks for watching, I love you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!